Hi there, let's get straight into the meat of this video. Who is the most logical Osu player? How did I measure this, and what did I do to answer this question? I measured this by giving points depending on how people answered different abstract questions. I attempted to find as many people from all corners of Osu, asking questions based on ethics and what other people may put down. The process of doing so led me to asking over 500 people 10 different questions over the period of a day. This was to minimize any metagaming or sharing of answers. Each question could earn you a specific amount of points, so whoever earned the most points in these logic questions would win. In this video, I'll explain every question, and fun facts along the way. The first question was a simple yes or no. Those who answered in the majority would earn 1 point, whilst the minority would get nothing. A whopping 438 people said yes, whilst unfortunately 64 people said no. It seems obvious that people would try to pick the most obvious consensus, and it did seem to work. Question 2 was probably my favourite question. Similar to before, but with 5 options asking people to pick a colour, in which the majority would not earn points. 77 said yellow, 93 said red, and 105 said orange, leaving green and blue to flip its majority status several times during the response period. However, green skimmed by with 113 people selecting it, whilst the 114 people who selected blue earned nothing. Thanks to Mihiroshina, aka Man, and Marco for being the last 2 responders, who coincidentally both chose blue. So you can blame them. Question 3 asked people to pick between 3 different words. Only those who were not in the majority or the minority got a point. The majority was the word common, with 194 people who selected it. Unknown was the minority, with 151 people selecting it, leaving the 157 people who selected median to be in the middle and successfully score themselves a point. For being the middle option, it seemed like the obvious decision that the perfect amount of people chose. Question 4 was quite the rollercoaster, asking everyone to submit a 3-letter word. To gain a point, it could not match with anyone else's word that they had submitted, and it had to be a valid English word. Some very common words were ilk, with 6 people submitting it. Other ones with 5 submissions were yak and pits. However, some people didn't get the instructions, with Satu Waywam, also known as Desolate Dreamer, submitting 727, which unfortunately was not valid. Inveco, aka 5_wef, submitted Hippopoto Monstrosesquipedaliophobia, and a few other people submitted some other funny invalid words. 212 people managed to score a point here, leaving 290 people pointless. Question 5 was simpler, asking people to pick a number between 1 and 15. Those who picked around the average of everyone's numbers would earn a point. Numbers submitted out of range were ignored. The average for this was 7.27, meaning if you said 7 or 8, you earned a point. Shining Halo and Crystal Ball submit 8,000 and 18 respectively. Whilst I love their enthusiasm, their numbers cost them a point. 304 people said either 7 or 8, meaning 198 people said something else, scoring them nothing. Question 6 ups the range to 1 to 20, asking people to guess the mode, which is the most guessed number. 111 people said 7, earning them a point, whilst a whopping 391 people said a less relevant number, scoring them nothing. It seems like we had some more troublemakers in this question. Thanks to Depila_00, also known as Zappy, for putting 67, Kasua, also known as Yohira, for putting 6.7, and Etsorko, putting 7.27. All of these people's humour sacrificed their point for this round. Getting into more abstract questions, this one was to split or steal. If more people split, they'd earn nothing, letting the stealers gain 3 points for themselves. More stealers would only gain them 1 point, whilst the splitters would earn 2. By a very close margin, 237 people chose to split, earning them 2 points, leaving the greedy 265 stealers with only 1 point to gain. Question 8 asked people to pick a group in which an action would happen around that group if they were the least chosen. Group 1 was selfless, sacrificing their chances for points for the others to get 1 point. Group 2 chose to attack, taking a point away from people who chose Group 3 and taking it for themselves. Group 3 chose defense, to give just those who picked it 2 points. The least people picked Group 1, so everyone outside that group earned a point. Question 9 was, of course, the infamous Mr. Beast dilemma. Do you pick red for a guaranteed point, or do you pick blue, where 50% or more people pick blue, you'll get 2 points. Otherwise, you'll earn nothing. An insane 327 people picked the blue button. A great hurrah and faith for this community and looking out for everyone. The other 175 who picked red should be ashamed of themselves, and only earn 1 point as a result. The last question entailed picking a final side. Good people would earn 1 point, only if more than 20% of people attempted to pick the evil side. If less than 20% of people picked evil, the evil team would score 3 whole points. But harmony prevailed, as 350 people picked to remain in everyone's good graces, earning just 1 point for themselves, whilst 152 people turned to the dark side, making them score nothing. Let's turn our attention to the final scores. Let's first see who did the worst. Hypothetically, the least amount of points someone could achieve was 3. However, nobody achieved that. Instead, a 5-way tie for last place, with 4 points each, was achieved by Hakashi, Ali, Astrovnas, Parkour Pro, and Chimeko. Congrats on that feat. There may be logic in getting the least points, so that may have been a good goal to go for. But let's turn our attention to the most logical, smartest, and best Osu players to grace the survey. With a perfect score of 12 points, we have a 2-way tie between Fooders and Arnen. Congratulations to you two for showing off your smart and prevailing over 500 other people. I hope you take this with honour. Feel free to brag about this win to everyone you know. Thanks to everyone for watching and participating. I'd be interested in doing a way larger version of this in the near future, so keep a lookout on that by following my Twitter and channel. The full raw datasheets are in the description. Before we end, I have a few things to say. First, I must apologise to the around 29 people who were not included, as they submit as I was making this video. But don't worry, the next time I do the survey, it will be open for a way longer time, as this was just a test, which worked out in the end. Second, honourable mentions go to our second place survivors, with 11 points each. You came so close, so you deserve a mention. Congrats to Kossi, Dice Cream, OYB, Julian Alvarez, Bananachi, Kekai, Dabu VX, Refantasio, Lot, and Evil. Thank you so much for watching again, and see you again soon.